Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take interesting sources, pull out the key insights, and, well, get you informed fast.
And today, we're digging into something called Practical Wisdom for a Royal Life.
Right.
We're looking at excerpts from Morning Murli Insights, dated May 19th, 2025.
Right. And what's interesting here is the style it uses these everyday analogies, these comparisons, to guide actions and sort of elevate life.
Exactly. The goal isn't just theoretical. It's about translating these ideas into practical steps for living better.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive: understand the core principles from these insights and figure out how you can actually use them for personal growth, ethical conduct, that sort of thing.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Let's kick things off with this really central idea, the power of divine guidance. It's called Shrimat.
Shrimat. Okay. And the core message is?
That following this Shrimat, this guidance, leads to, a royal life, a richer life in all aspects.
Not just materially royal, I assume.
No, not just external success. It's also about inner peace, strong relationships, the whole picture.
Got it. And there's an analogy to help explain this.
Yeah, a really relatable one, actually. It compares Shrimat to a company's standard operating procedure, an SOP.
Ah, okay. Like the official way things are meant to be done in a business.
Exactly. So think about it in a company. If you follow the SOPs, things generally run smoothly. You get good results, maybe recognition, career success.
And if you ignore them, try to cut corners.
Well, that's when errors creep in, quality drops, maybe you face setbacks. You might even get into trouble.
Right. So deviating has consequences. Following it leads to, generally, better outcomes. I see the parallel.
So how do we apply that to, life? What's the practical step here?
The insight suggests pausing before making, say, a big decision or even responding in a tricky situation.
Just take a moment.
Yeah, take a moment and ask yourself, does this align with my highest values, my inner truth? That pause, that check-in, acts like your personal Shrimat.
Ah, okay. So it's like consulting your internal SOP before acting.
Precisely. And the idea is that doing this consistently helps you make choices that support your integrity, your long-term well-being. It can reduce that feeling of being conflicted, too.
Leads to more confident action, perhaps.
That seems to be the implications. Less inner turmoil, clearer choices.
Okay, that makes sense. Being deliberate. So, next point. Cultivating a charitable soul. What's that about?
This links remembering the divine, or whatever you hold as sacred, with consciously choosing not to do negative things.
So the awareness itself helps prevent negativity.
That's the core idea, that keeping this higher connection, this loving awareness in mind, naturally steers you away from harmful actions, like harsh words or unkindness.
And there's a relationship analogy for this one too, right?
Yes. Think about someone you deeply care about, a best friend. If they were constantly top of mind, would you gossip about them? Betray them? Probably not.
Right. You'd naturally treat them with respect and care.
Exactly. So, similarly, keeping the divine top of mind is suggested as a way to bring that same level of respect and care into your interactions with, say, family or colleagues. It discourages negativity.
It encourages a kind of reverence in how we deal with people. So what's a tangible way to practice this, like day to day?
Okay, the life application here is pretty straightforward. When you feel that flash of anger or frustration bubbling up,
Which happens.
which definitely happens,
Yeah.
the suggestion is to silently repeat Shanti, the peace mantra.
Okay.
And while doing that, try to visualize a gentle, maybe smiling divine presence. It sounds simple, but it can actually create a pause.
A mental circuit breaker.
Sort of, yeah. It helps diffuse the intensity before you say or do something you regret.
Yeah.
It shifts your internal state just enough.
A quick practical tool. I like it. Okay, moving on. The insights also talk about the importance of a self-audit, regular self-reflection. Why is that stressed?
Well, the idea is that checking in with yourself regularly stops small missteps from snowballing into bigger problems down the line.
Like preventative maintenance for your character.
That's a good way to put it. You catch deviations early and correct them before they cause real harm.
And the analogy here is finances.
Yes, relatable again. Think of an accountant doing daily reconciliation. They check the books every day.
Right, to catch any small errors before they add up to a huge discrepancy or debt.
Exactly that. So applying that principle personally.
How do we do our own daily reconciliation?
The suggested life application is quite interesting. Each evening, mentally create 2 columns.
Okay.
One is charity for your positive, pure actions, contributions, good intentions that day. The other is liability for moments of weakness, negative thoughts or actions, mistakes.
So a personal balance sheet of sorts.
Kind of, yeah. You just review them mentally. Acknowledge both sides without harsh judgment. The aim is self-awareness and identifying areas for improvement.
And this helps maintain karmic health.
That's the term used, yes. It's about consciously managing the consequences of your actions and intentions by being aware of them. This regular check-in can subtly guide your behavior over time.
Makes sense. Becoming more mindful of your own patterns. Okay, next is a big one. Conquering the number one enemy, identified as purity versus lust.
Right. And in this context, purity is very specifically about overcoming lustful desires. It's presented as a major hurdle to progress because it can, well, cloud judgment and drain vital energy.
And the analogy used is health.
Yes, comparing lust to eating too much sugar. We all know a sugar rush gives temporary pleasure, maybe energy.
But the long-term effects aren't great. Weight gain, energy crashes, other health issues.
Exactly. The insight suggests that, similarly, overindulging in lust drains your deeper vitality, mental, physical, even spiritual energy.
Okay, so what's the upside of tackling this? The benefit of cutting out the excess sugar?
Well, just like reducing sugar can boost your physical stamina, mental clarity, and overall health. Overcoming lust is said to build inner strength, sharpen your focus, and importantly, increase self-respect. It's about mastering impulses rather than being ruled by them.
Gaining control. So practically speaking, how do you redirect that energy if you're trying to manage those desires?
The life application suggests channeling it, consciously choosing positive outlets for that energy.
Like what?
Could be physical exercise, pouring energy into a creative hobby, maybe investing more quality time in meaningful relationships or service.
So replace the focus rather than just suppressing it.
Precisely. Actively choose constructive activities. This not only avoids the potential negative impact, but also helps you grow in other areas.
That's a useful strategy. Okay, next topic, honesty and integrity. And it starts with something seemingly quite small.
Yes, it really emphasizes that even tiny acts of dishonesty, the example given is stealing a straw from a shared or sacred place, can actually harm your overall fortune or well-being.
Wow, even a straw. It underscores the principle then.
Exactly. It's about the principle of absolute integrity, no matter how small the action seems.
And the analogy connects this to the workplace ethics.
Right. Think about pocketing office supplies, pens, notepads, whatever. It might seem trivial.
Right, people probably do it without thinking.
Sure. But the analogy suggests it erodes trust. If your colleagues or boss notice, even subconsciously, it chips away at their confidence in you.
And that erosion of trust could subtly block opportunities later on.
That's the idea. Small dishonesties create a subtle atmosphere of scarcity or lack of integrity, whereas consistent honesty builds a foundation of trust and, potentially, abundance.
So it's about the cumulative effect and the signal you're sending. What's the application?
Practice radical honesty. That's the suggestion. In everything. Expense reports, invoices, how you use company time, even online interactions related to work.
Fuller transparency.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
And the payoff isn't just external. It's the peace of mind from having a clear conscience. That's presented as far more valuable than any tiny gain from being dishonest.
A clear conscience is a soft pillow. That definitely resonates. Okay, shifting gears slightly. The gift of spiritual giving. What's this about?
This focuses on the importance of offering support, hope, encouragement to others, especially people who are struggling or feeling down.
Uplifting others.
Exactly. Highlighting the positive ripple effect our words and support can have.
And the analogy used is community service.
It draws a parallel to, say, mentoring a junior colleague. You might spend just 5 minutes offering a word of encouragement or a helpful insight.
Doesn't take much time for the mentor.
Right. Minimal effort for you, potentially, but it can be transformative for the person receiving it. Boost their confidence, change their perspective.
So how do we apply this spiritual giving daily?
The life application is really about being present for others, offering a listening ear when someone seems stuck, or sharing a simple insight, perhaps one derived from this source material, a BK insight as they might call it.
Just sharing something helpful you've learned.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be profound advice, just genuine support. By doing so, you not only potentially help someone else, but also reinforce your own understanding and positivity.
Nice. A win-win. Okay, next. The power of positive association. Why is who we hang out with or what we consume so important?
This bit really stresses how much our environment, the people, the media, the general vibe, affects our own mental and emotional state.
Makes sense. We absorb things.
Definitely. So consciously connecting with positive influences acts like a buffer. It helps shield you from negativity and external pressures.
And the analogy is quite modern, digital well-being.
Yeah, it compares positive association to noise-canceling headphones.
Ah, okay. Blocking out the unwanted noise.
Exactly. Just like headphones block distractions, things like morning meditation or spending time with uplifting people can help filter out the noise of negativity, maybe gossip or social media drama or just general stress.
So you're consciously managing your mental input.
Right. Curating your mental environment to support your well-being.
So how do we build this positive shield? What's a practical step?
The suggestion is to start the day proactively, maybe with a short, quiet reflection or visualization.
Like what kind of visualization?
Imagine, for example, a circle of protective, positive light around you, setting that intention for calm and resilience before you even step out into the world.
Okay.
The idea is that this mental preparation helps you carry that calm into potentially stressful situations, traffic jams, work deadlines, difficult interactions.
Setting a positive tone for the day. I like that. Almost there. Penultimate point. Embodying spiritual royalty. What does that mean? Sounds grand.
It does sound grand, but it's about embodying specific qualities. Dignity, inner purity, which we discussed earlier in terms of managing desires, and a kind of quiet, steady joy.
So it's an inner state that radiates outward.
That's the concept. It's not about being aloof or anything, but cultivating an inner poise and positivity that influences how people perceive and interact with you.
And the analogy is personal branding.
Yes, very relevant today. Think about leaders or public figures who just exude confidence and kindness. They tend to attract support, respect, allies.
Right. Their demeanor communicates something powerful.
Exactly. The source talks about our silent aura,
Yeah.
the energy we project, how we carry ourselves. It suggests this unspoken communication often precedes our actual words.
Okay, so how do we cultivate this royal personality? Any practical tips?
The life application gets quite specific about physical presence. Things like maintaining good posture, shoulders back but relaxed, offering a gentle, steady gaze, not avoiding eye contact, sharing a genuine smile.
Simple things, but they make a difference.
Apparently so. The insight is that people pick up on these subtle cues, even online and video calls. A steady, positive physical presence can actually attract opportunities and foster better relationships.
Good reminder that how we show up physically matters. Okay, finally, bringing it all together. Daily practices for integration. How do we make all this stuff part of our routine?
Well, the source offers a kind of quick daily checklist to get started. It's a summary of actionable steps.
Like?
Okay, so a morning remembrance or reflection to set your ethical compass, a quick SOP check like we discussed before important tasks, especially at work, an evening mental review, that charity versus liability ledger,
Right.
and maybe, say, once a week, consciously making an effort to encourage or support someone else, like the spiritual giving point.
So small, consistent actions. And this ties back to karma yoga. Remind us briefly what that means here.
In this context, balanced karma yoga means being active and engaged in the world, having drive, pursuing goals, but doing it all while guided by these higher principles, by shramat.
Action guided by ethics.
Precisely. Finding that balance between doing and being. Acting effectively, but always from a place of integrity and positive intention.
And the payoff for all this integration, what's the long-term view?
The underlying message is that these consistent elevated actions you take now directly shape better outcomes for you later, across the board.
In all areas.
Yes. Health, family life, career, finances. It's about creating a positive upward spiral through conscious, ethical living day by day.
That's a really compelling vision. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, the core message seems clear. Applying these practical principles, these insights drawn from everyday life, really can lead to significant personal elevation, a more, well, royal life, as the source puts it.
Absolutely. It's not about huge, drastic changes necessarily, but those small, consistent, conscious adjustments grounded in these principles.
Right. So for you listening, here's something to chew on. Which of these everyday analogies, the SOP, the sugar, the accountant, the noise-canceling headphones, which one really clicked with you in your current situation?
And maybe think about its corresponding life application.
Yeah.
What's one small step, one tiny shift based on that insight that you could maybe try out, starting today even?
Yeah. What small change might just yield a surprisingly positive, maybe even royal result in your own experience? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.